welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. And like I said, I was going to start doing par for the course for Lucha Underground, another exceptional hour of programming tonight. And I gotta say, I find it hilarious that on Raw TwitWoW this past Monday, I foreshadowed our Lucha Underground review by posing the question of who was going to possess the next Aztec medallion. We didn't just get one Aztec medallion match, we got 3 tonight. I mean, technically, I guess
4.
you could say we got 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 new owners emerged, which means 1 medallion by my count remains, because there were 7 medallions, and I think 6 have only been distributed. So yeah, they really progressed that storyline in a major way. They progressed a lot of storylines tonight. Really just so much to talk about. I can't wait to get into it. But Ashton, what did you think of this episode tonight?
I absolutely loved this episode. I feel like this was the best episode that we've had in a while. Now, that might just be because this is the first episode that Dario Cueto has made an appearance on in a while, but I just thoroughly loved this episode.
Absolutely. Dude, this was so good. So good.
Let's get to our first segment so I can make a bit of a statement.
Oh, okay. First segment, Heat of the Night. I've got no heats of the night, so let's get right to Ashton and your statement. What do you want to say, brother?
My statement is that I have no heats of the night either, because I feel like this was a flawless show.
Unbelievable. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
I feel like this was the show that, like, there wasn't even a little tiny thing to complain about because they had more than 3 matches. It was like there was literally, to me, even though 2 of the matches you could say kind of ran together, still it was 4 matches, 4 different stories going on, plus a bunch of other stuff that wasn't match related. I just absolutely adored this episode of Lucha Underground. Like, I don't know why I'm so over the moon about it compared to other episodes. I just feel like this was different in an amazing way.
I feel like it had such a great vibe, and we are so close to Ultima Lucha now.
And maybe that has something to do with it, too, because that little rundown that they did before the main event segment of all of the Ultima Lucha matches that we know of so far was incredible.
Yeah, I am so pumped for this card. It's going to be an amazing show. But with that said, I mean, let's get right into our Lucha Underground review. And we open up this Lucha Underground with a cinematic segment, you know, after kind of recapping like we usually do the storylines that are going to kind of dominate the hour tonight. And it features Pentagon Jr. and God, oh my God, his name slipped my mind. El Jefe, the boss.
Dario Cueto.
How could I? Oh my, that was bad. El Jefe, I'll call him, I guess, when I'm in a clutch. But yeah, those two talking about the Aztec medallions.
Yep.
And Dario Cueto offers Pentagon Jr. He says, you know, you've really been impressing me. Are you sure you don't want to be in one of the matches? I mean, heck, I'm loving the havoc you're wreaking on my temple. I may just give one of them to you right now. And Pentagon Jr. pretty much tells him more or less, you know, you can take these medallions and shove it. He says, me and my master are not interested. And I love this from Pentagon Jr. He says, if my master was interested, I would have broken your arm by now and taken them all. I love that line.
That's even in my notes. That was my favorite line of this segment, too.
I think it set the perfect tone that Dario Cueto, can be pushed around by anybody, whether it's somebody as intimidating as Mil Muertes or somebody with the backing of Pentagon Jr., who's certainly no slouch in his own right.
Well, dude, my thing is, what I loved about this is that it made it sort of put forward the idea that Cueto is losing control of his own temple.
And you know what? That's an idea I think you and I have been discussing for a while now. Because I've been saying that I feel like Dario Cueto, he's going to have to get his comeuppance sometime.
I think it all started... honestly, I think it all started with that one segment where Katrina choked him out and then said something about how Mil Muertes is even stronger than that creature that you keep locked up, or whatever she said. Like, that segment was like the first in a long line of dominoes that lead up to Dario Cueto's House of Cards just getting knocked over.
And what I love about it, though, dude, is that Dario Cueto is such an electric personality, and he's such a great heel.
Yeah.
But, like, when he gets when he gets choked out or he gets a will imposed upon him by somebody else, like say Pentagon Jr. just like really saying to him, hey, back off with this medallion bull crap because I could have broken your arm and taken them all. Like, Dario Cueto, unlike the Authority with like Seth Rollins and Kane and all them, he doesn't have the muscle to kind of get that power back. So instead, like, he just kind of takes it all in stride, which I think, is definitely refreshing because I think, yeah, the temple is kind of collapsing all around him, but he's just blissfully unaware of it, I think, because he just has such a big ego, which I think is an interesting take on the whole Authority thing.
Yeah.
So, he pretty much says, well, what are you after if it's not the Aztec medallions? And then Pentagon Jr. pretty much runs down his plan. It's like, hey, I want to call out, Vampiro. I want to call out Ian Hodgkinson, get my match at Ultima Lucha. I want to just beat him down and sacrifice him to my master. And, Dario says, well, good luck with that. But then he asks, when are we going to see your master? I like that Dario Cueto's kind of serving as the fan here, kind of showing his own curiosity. And then Pentagon just simply replies, my master will reveal himself when I prove that I am ready. Whatever that means. So, again, the intrigue of the master continues to build. And Pentagon Jr. is just such a great character, and him and Dario played off so well with each other in this segment.
Yeah, they were great. I think I'd never want to have another episode of Lucha Underground without Dario Cueto. He's that dynamic. He's amazing.
I mean, I've missed him. I've missed him all these weeks, and he came back. I mean, he rendered me speechless, as you could see. I mean, he's just such a great personality. I love the guy to death. I feel like he's so entertaining, so charismatic. And again, I love that he doesn't have, like, this muscle to be like, oh, you're not going to threaten me. No, he knows he runs it. He comes from some kind of wealth, some kind of family background. And I guess that's actually kind of false because he has Matanza behind bars. But Matanza we haven't heard about in so long, and I love that. I love that, Lucha Underground can take these pregnant pauses with storylines. Just when they revisit them, we're going to be so jazzed up, dude. Because the next time we see Matanza or we see Angela Fong, in captivity, we're going to be thinking, oh my God, progress on this story. Like, it's so good. But yeah, Dario Cueto, the temple's falling apart around him, but you wouldn't know it with that shark smile of his.
Yep. That's a great way to put it, too. I love it.
All right, what came after this, brother?
After the Pentagon Cueto segment?
Yes.
Well, that was when we kind of cut to commentary, and they kind of filled us in on what's going on for the night. They tell us that Mil Muertes and Prince Puma are going to have a face-off in the ring tonight. And that we're going to get more Aztec medallion matches to crown, well, not really crown, but to award more people with the medallions. And the first one starts, and they do this big tease, like, when do you think it's going to be? Right now! So we go to the ring, and Melissa Santos does introductions for Bengala versus Delavar Daivari, who obviously is coming out with Big Rick.
Yeah, you know what? Another fun opening matchup here with Delavar Daivari. Bengala is just so great. Me and Ashton were really looking forward to seeing him again. I think you and I have made the point quite a few times now in conversation that we just feel he's better than the likes of like Tiger Mask and others that I think are in that vein. Very entertaining dude. His athleticism
and
seems to
frickin'
be on the charts.
Tigre Uno.
Yeah. So yeah, Bengala, no complaints here. He had a nice back and forth with Daivari. Big Rick did prove instrumental at one point in the matchup, allowed Daivari to, hit a superplex off the top rope. So, Daivari was definitely game for Bengala despite all the offense. However, Big Rick, while he proved instrumental at one point, he proved detrimental in another because Delavar Daivari calls for the end. Big Rick raises the arm up. He accidentally clobbers Daivari in that classic, like, bait and switch, like, oh, I'm bringing Bengala to you, but Bengala's able to switch the momentum and make Daivari the offense. Then Bengala does a German suplex, and he kind of bridges it for the win, getting the medallion.
Yeah. I mean, I am going to be the first person to say I think that they're honestly doing a really good job of kind of breaking down Big Rick, and it's like, oh, we've relegated him so that he's just a bodyguard now so that they can build him back up. Because this match left me feeling like, oh man, I wonder if it wasn't for Daivari, could Big Rick have been the one to beat Bengala to get that medallion?
Yeah, you know what, Ashton? I love the way you put that, and I say that because it actually kind of makes me think, get this, of that Al Snow shoot that you and I watched from so many moons ago, where he talks about, when you're a certain performer, you kind of go through cycles. Now, Big
Yeah.
Rick at one point was a hotter part of the product
Yep.
because he was running with the crew and he was Dario Cueto's heavy, and now he's just his bodyguard, so he's going to make that ascension again, and that's what keeps characters like Big Rick interesting. So I'm really glad you brought that up because it made me think of Al Snow's sentiments on the business, and I think that's so apropos here. But I'll lead that to a follow-up question to you, Ashton. Do you think we're going to see Delavar Daivari versus Big Rick at Ultima Lucha?
I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it.
You highly doubt it. Okay, then. I just wanted to put that out there. Let me say this, though, as a side note. It's great that Bengala's got one of these medallions, and he's going to be a prominent part towards the tail end of Season 1. Because, he's awesome, so I'm really glad to see that.
Yeah. I enjoy Bengala. I'd definitely like to see more of him in Season 2.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I hope we see him do more stuff. Maybe get a team together, take a run at the Trios Championships, do something. Because he's just so fun to watch. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see more of Bengala in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Up next, we had, after Bengala's big win of the Aztec medallion, we're getting ready to cut to commercial, and Stryker and Vampiro are kind of talking us out, but Vampiro has this look on his face, and then he gets up and takes the headset off and says, I got to go do something, man. And Stryker's just like, okay, well, we'll see what happens when we get back from commercial, and Vampiro walks to the ring.
Yeah, Vampiro walks to the ring. He starts by pretty much saying what he's been saying for a while. I've done everything. I've wrestled on every corner of the planet. I've been all over the world. I'm a legend. I've done everything. But my time has come and gone. It's not my time anymore. I've got no ego. But then you've got Pentagon Jr. Quickly interrupts. And he says, Vampiro, you talk about loving this business. You talk about this and that. It's a bunch of crap. He said, I came out here to get a damn answer. Are you going to face me in Ultima Lucha? Yes or no? And then Vampiro tries to reiterate. I said, look, man, back up off me. I love my job at Lucha Underground. My time is coming and gone. I got no ego, man. I don't want anything to do with you. Pentagon Jr., continues to press it. And then I think Vampiro says, Ian Hodgkinson is not going to face you. Ian Hodgkinson, he's not that guy anymore. He's put it behind him. Pentagon Jr. kind of throws it back in his face, says, I'm going to ask you one more time. Will you face me in Ultima Lucha, Ian? But he kind of says it in like a mocking way, which gets a nice rise out of the crowd. And Vampiro says, hey, man, for the last time, Ian Hodgkinson will not be facing you at Ultima Lucha. Because...
Well, and I love the way they built up to this, too, because he walked away, but then rather than getting out of the ring, he just kind of stood there staring at the far turnbuckle. And Pentagon was like all disappointed, and then you can continue.
Because the man that's going to kick your ass at Ultima Lucha is Vampiro. And he, takes off his stuff, and the crowd pops, and he just throttles Pentagon Jr. by the throat, and he hits him with a choke slam, and he's just got this stare. He just stares directly into the crowd like he is in the zone. He's in.
Well, and then he gets into the crowd, and he actually gets into the middle of a bunch of people and celebrates with them.
Yeah, it was great. Great imagery.
Yeah.
And you know what? That choke slam was nice. Good sell by Pentagon Jr. Gives me a little bit more comfort about these guys getting in the ring with each other. I still have my reservations, but I can't deny that this build has been fantastic. If we were scoring simply by story points alone, this match would be coming out well ahead. Trust me. So I hope that they can just punctuate it nicely at Ultima Lucha.
Yep.
Anything you want to say about it, or can we move on?
No, I think I loved this segment. I love the entire story that they're telling with Vampiro and Pentagon. And I'm just curious, honestly, at this point, first of all, I'm kind of curious to see if Vampiro can still go in the ring. I'm assuming that they're going to have like a hardcore style match so that they can kind of get a little bit more creative with it. But second of all, I just want to know who Pentagon's master is, man.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like Matanza reveal, Pentagon's master. Let's get to it. But I love that they're making us work for it. It's like, no, you got to tune in next week. Maybe we'll give you a little something. Okay, you tune in next week. You get maybe a minor hint. Oh, well, just tune in next week. Keep following the breadcrums. And it's just like, you follow the trail gladly because it's amazing television.
Absolutely. All right. Up next, we had kind of a brief, very brief flashback to the Superfly Sexy Star match, their story. They show her unmasking him and then preventing him from getting his arm broken, and then him getting his arm broken, and talking about how he blames her and that kind of stuff. And then they kind of just show her backstage with a folded up Superfly mask. I'm assuming it's the one that she took off of him a few months ago. And yeah, that's about it. But then we get into our second match of the night, King Cuerno versus Killshot. And this was the match of the night by a billion miles. It was so good.
First of all, I have fixed my signature readily to that sentiment.
Yeah.
Secondly, I want you to take the floor on this one first, seeing as how I feel like I talked a lot in the preceding segment, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this match, so you can carry the ball on this one.
Okay. I mean, I thought this was a great match. I think that the fact that King Cuerno tried to go for the bow and arrow suicide dive twice, because the first time Killshot had a counter for it, I feel like that's the first time we've ever seen that countered.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's huge in and of itself. But I just love that these guys seemed to really, this felt like a chess match, man. This felt like they were just trying to feel each other out, trying to, rather than like going all out and just trying to get their shit in, it felt like they were focusing more on not screwing up and trying to win the match. And I love that, because they were being so, it wasn't boring. I don't want it to come off that way, but they were being so careful with how they went at going after each other. I just love the psychology in this match.
Do you know what I came away from this match with? And it was an amazing match, right? And I want to give all the praise in the world to Killshot. Like, I feel like this was his best performance today. And I know he had a clinic a few weeks ago with Phoenix, but I feel like this was his best match thus far. But I came away from this match, and I know you've been a big fan of King Cuerno for a long while now.
He's awesome.
I came away from this match wanting so much more for him for Season 2. Now, that's not to say his Season 1 has been bad, and certainly not tonight, because he actually wins this match. He wins this match with a new submission that's like a surfboard dragon sleeper combo.
Yeah.
That looks just brutal, and
that's actually a move. The first time I ever saw anybody do that move, believe it or not, it was actually Daniel Bryan. He was Bryan Danielson in ROH, and he did that to Seth Rollins, who was Tyler Black at the time, in an ROH title match.
I've seen Bryan use that move as well. I mean, even as Daniel Bryan, I've seen him do that move, and I think it's the perfect kind of submission for a guy like King Cuerno. So, I mean, you know, he wins a medallion. He's going to be, you know, a part of, I guess, this hunt, pun, I guess, totally intended there, for the remaining ones that he doesn't have.
Yep.
But my thing is, I want him to be, like, at the epicenter of Season 2, because I don't know why. I've known that King Cuerno was good for a while, but for whatever reason, this match almost took me to, like, your levels of appreciation for him.
He's awesome, dude.
Because I came away from this thinking, you know what? This guy should be a world champion in Season 2 without question. Like, he's an amazing character. Every little mannerism he has relates to his character.
He's one of the only people I've ever seen that wears a mask and still has incredible facial expressions at the same time.
Yes, dude, yes. I feel like none of his body language is wasted.
No.
Like, there was even a small moment, I don't know if you caught it, and I just really dug it for some reason. Like, Killshot's coming out, and King Cuerno's staring him down, and he actually pulls on his mask a little bit, but like doing the eye motion, like, I've got my eyes on you.
Yes.
And he makes that gesture so freaking good.
Like,
so
it looks like he's gonna do like the double fingers to his eyes and then pointing at his opponent and being like, I've got my eyes on you. But instead, he points his fingers at himself, and it looks almost like he's gonna poke himself in the eyes, but then he just kind of hooks his fingers inside the eye holes of his masks and pulls it out a little bit and just kind of snaps it back on his face.
Yes.
Oh, so good. And dude, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but when he does the bow and arrow taunt, he does everything. He pulls the arrow out of the quiver that's on his back. He freaking notches it and he pulls it back. And when he has it pulled back, the hand that's supposed to be holding the arrow itself actually starts shaking to show that he's pulling an arrow back and that it requires strength to do.
Like I said, dude, no wasted body language.
He's so freaking good.
He's next level. And guys, like, that's really what I wanted to say about this match. I was so excited to come out with it, like you said about the heat of the night, you know, being, like, flawless. That was your statement. This is mine. I've never hated King Cuerno. I think you all know that by now. But I think I've definitely reached Ashton levels of appreciation after this
See,
match.
dude, now knowing that you have, like, the light finally went on for you with King Cuerno, I want us to go back and watch Johnny Mundo versus him in the steel cage again.
Oh, that was such an incredible match. Oh my god, that was such an incredible match.
Because to me, that's the cage match of the year. That's the best cage match in years.
Definitely. And let me say this, like, Puma's an amazing champion. I don't know what's going to come of his run at Ultima Lucha. I mean, I can't wait for Ultima Lucha preview and predictions. But,
Yeah.
Whether he's champion or not, Season 2 needs to belong to King Cuerno because he is one of the best characters, not just in Lucha Underground, but I think in pro wrestling, period, right now. I love what this guy does, dude. It's insanity. Just insanity to me. So, yeah, really wanted to give him praise in this segment. So happy he has one of the Aztec medallions. The hunt is on, baby. Let's see if he can claim the other 6.
Oh, yeah. So far, he's definitely my favorite in the Aztec medallion field.
Yeah, definitely.
I love Drago and Phoenix, but I'm a King Cuerno dude.
Hey, man, you've been, I think, almost since the very beginning. I mean, so yeah, man, that's no surprise.
I don't even remember when the first time it was that I kind of professed my love for King Cuerno. I know it was before Aztec Warfare because I enjoyed his work there too.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's so well-rounded.
All right. Let's enough of the King Cuerno circle jerk. Let's move on. Superfly versus Sexy Star. I don't want to say squash match, but kind of squash match.
I mean, I feel the need to apologize to all of our viewers here. I mean, here at TWitWoW, I always try and bring the utmost in professionalism. And I just got to apologize. I mean, because I just blinked and the match was over. I'm so sorry that I missed it, guys.
It is worth noting. This is the big thing for me because, I mean, normally it would be just like, oh, she's using that move that some other guy uses. But no, her finisher in both of her matches tonight, and that's sort of a spoiler for later, but in both of her matches tonight, Sexy Star's finisher was La Mística, which is formerly known as Mystico, then Sin Cara, now Mysticis. His finisher, like that Hurricane Rana into a Fujiwara armbar, that's his thing.
Yeah.
Why exactly is Sexy Star using it? Unless it's to set up Mysticis himself coming in and being pissed off at her for taking his submission.
Which, I mean, Lucha Underground, I mean, not to say that they can't surprise me anymore because, I mean, look at the product. But, I mean, if they did add Mysticis to a deal, I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe they
I don't know. If I would to have any heats of the night tonight, it would be why is Sexy Star allowed to use one of the biggest Mexican wrestling stars today's finisher, who could potentially be a prospect for Lucha Underground?
And see, it's so funny because, like, I don't disagree with you, and I think it's a very original argument that you bring to the table. But, like, I looked at it, I was actually grateful that this was the finish because I think the one complaint I've had about Sexy, I love this idea in Lucha Underground that they're so progressive about pushing women and women are strong. I mean, Ivelisse is a freaking champion, and Sexy Star, I think I've been saying on multiple TwitWows now, I think she is being groomed to be the first female world champion. I think they've got big things for her. It's just a gut feeling I have. But the one nitpick I've always had of Sexy is that I feel like she always gets, like, those hiccup victories. Like, oh, we're fighting hard, but oh, look, I caught you in, like, a wheelbarrow, pinning combination or a victory roll or this, that, or the other, and I got the win. Yeah. The idea that she got the win with this kind of legitimacy, and I didn't think about it.
It's like now she finally has a finisher.
Exactly.
I feel like she didn't really have a finisher up until now, but my only thing is, like, why would she take the finisher of one of the biggest stars in Mexico and a guy that could potentially be working in the same promotion as you now?
Yeah, and see, I didn't take it that far, which is why, again, like, I'm not disputing your argument. I think that's a very great point that's worthy of consideration. I think I was just grateful for the moment that she finally has something more substantive, because I think that was the missing piece for a really big Sexy Star push whenever they want to do it.
And he still uses that too. I don't know if you remember, but he actually used that to win one of the matches at the Lucha Underground, or the Lucha World Cup, the Lucha Libre World Cup back in May.
Yeah, man, yeah.
He used that to win one of those matches. So it's not like it's just a move that he used as Mystico and he hasn't used it since he's become Mysticis. He uses it still.
I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't
Here's
know.
the thing. It's kind of a locker room code from what I understand from certain stories I'd read in the past from certain wrestlers, that sometimes wrestlers will be cool if you ask permission to use the move. Maybe Sexy Star got permission from Miss Deceased first.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I use your move? I would hope so. Because I feel like, because you've already kind of brought up the point of, like, a potential Lucha Underground prospect, this and that. For me, I think also to kind of expound upon that point, it goes back to kind of like a locker room ethic.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like violating the code. I remember people used to be pissed off at Michelle McCool because she was using the Faith Breaker, which was really the Styles Clash. And I read a report one time when they confronted her about it. It's like, Michelle, like, what about that move? And she's like, oh, no, it's cool. I saw it on TNA one time. Obviously referring to AJ Styles. And people were hot about that because it goes against the code. So I'm hoping that she talked to Mystices about it. If not, that's a bit problematic. But again, like, I am happy at least that she's got a substantive finisher, because if they do want to push her more heavily in Season 2, which I fully suspect they will, like I just got done saying earlier that I hope King Cuerno is one of the epicenters of Season 2. I actually think Sexy Star will be one of the epicenters of Season 2. That's an early prediction for you. But, so it's good that she's got a finisher under her belt now, even if it does kind of have its problems.
Yeah. Okay, well, she takes care of Superfly no problem, but she's not done there, because Marty the Moth Martinez comes out. He kind of makes his way around to Melissa Santos and snatches the mic from out of her hands, and then gets in the ring and he says, "Sexy, sexy. Can I call you sexy?" And then he says, let me see the medallion. And she's just like, no. And then he just grabs it from her and he's just like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. This is the Moth. This is my Aztec tribe's logo, medallion, symbol, whatever you want to call it. And I think that because of that, you owe it to me to give me an opportunity to beat you for this. And he laid down the gauntlet, and she like got all fired up, like she was kind of offended that he would dare or challenge her after she already had a match, but at the same time she was like, all right, well, this is just another match. I just kind of made quick work of somebody. I'm on a roll, why not? And she starts like hyping up the crowd and stuff, and then she accepts.
Dude, I just gotta say, I heaped a lot of praise on Marty the Moth several Lucha Underground TWitWows ago, talking about what a great character I find him to be. So I'm not gonna say as much about that here, but I just gotta reiterate, he is the best kind of strange. Like, what an excellent creeper is Marty the Moth. But yeah, he does show a bit more competitiveness than Superfly in the preceding bout.
Which is good, because it means that I guess in one way you could say this was after Superfly's match with Sexy Star, so she was a little worn down. But on the other hand, you could also say she made such quick work of Superfly that she wasn't really worn down that much, and he lasted a lot longer than Superfly did.
Yeah, he did. But unfortunately with the same result. At least if you're a Marty the Moth fan, because he fell to the armbar and he tapped out, but holy crap, Sexy Star channeling her into Ronda Rousey with 2 submission wins straight.
Yep.
Damn.
Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And it's funny because I saw some people on Reddit were actually angry about this, but to me, I feel like this is how you book a babyface. If you want a babyface to get over, you have to give them wins over lower tier characters. And I freaking love Marty the Moth, and I respect the hell out of Superfly too. But they are, at this point, like, if you were to make a Lucha Underground tier list, Sexy Star would be like an A-, B+, and those guys would be like B-, C-ish.
Yeah, and let's be fair here. In the case of Superfly, if people were upset about that, he beat Sexy Star in a one-on-one encounter, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and he was on the winning team for that Atomicos matchup, that 8-man tag.
Yeah.
And so I think he was due for
Thanks
a loss
to
here.
Johnny Mundo.
I know, right? His leadership skills are amazing. God, I am such a weirdo. But then you have Marty the Moth, who I too, Ashton, as you can tell with my affection and our collective enthusiasm over him, I love the guy to death. But, like, it's going to take some time to really build him up. And I already find his build-up intriguing. Like, the guy has an intriguing story. His story hasn't gone anywhere.
Right.
And if people are potentially angry, and I'm not saying they are, because I don't think you specified what it was on the Reddit, but if they're angry that it seems like Sexy Star is getting pushed really aggressively, well, I hate to tell it to you, but get used to it, because she's not going anywhere. I think she's only going to climb higher. Again, I just got done saying I think she's going to be one of the defining points of season 2 next season.
Yeah.
And I love it though. I love it. I'm just again glad that she has a finisher and she's really rounded herself out. Now I'm really ready for the Sexy Star push. So let's see what they got.
All right, I agree. And once this whole duel of matches is over, we get to probably my favorite part of the night, just overall, the commentary guys going over the Ultima Lucha card so far. This got me so excited. I am just so looking forward to finally being able to live react to this show. It looks so stacked. I love it. So first they talk about Mundo Patron, which obviously is going to be incredible.
Yeah, buddy.
They talked about Tejano Blue Demon Jr., which is going to be probably the low point of the night for me, but on that same note, I'm sure it'll still be a solid in-ring story. Team Sitcom, Ivelisse, Angelico, and Son of Havoc taking on the Disciples of Death for the Trios titles. That might take the match of the night. Drago versus Hernandez, which we were asking for. I'm very happy to see them doing that. Vampiro versus Pentagon, again, going to be a crazy match, hopefully some kind of hardcore stipulation. And then we get to our main event, Prince Puma versus Mil Muertes, and that's when we get into the ring with Dario Cueto.
Yeah, Dario Cueto, hyping up both guys and how it's such a stellar main event for Ultima Lucha. And then he first introduces Prince Puma. He comes out with Conan absent, which Vampiro is just so glad about because he's still got that hate boner for Conan. And then it's Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes is absent Katrina because it's supposed to be a one-on-one confrontation. They start staring each other down. Dario Cueto is loving it. He's just reveling in it. He's like, oh, we have the image for Ultimate Lucha. This is going to sell so much. He's probably seeing dollar signs, seeing those two stare down, not that I can blame him. And he says, hey, no physicality, none of that's Ultimate Lucha. I love that Dario Cueto is just so concerned with preserving the integrity of
I know, dude. He's such a promoter.
I love it, though. I wish more people had that concern. That's actually, I came away really loving Dario Cueto tonight. I mean, what a surprise. Because, yeah, he wants to preserve his main event, which I think, me as a wrestling fan, I want that too. Hype up the physicality. Make me want it, Lucha Underground. But, Katrina starts descending the steps because she's on top, and he's like, Katrina, what are you doing here? It's supposed to just be the two of them. What are you doing? Get back. And he's like, Dario Cueto's having full-blown panic attack. Puma tries to take the first shot, and I love this sequence here because Dario Cueto bolts. But the big story here, Puma nails a couple right hands. Mil Muertes doesn't even flinch. He eats all of them.
Yep.
And it takes one right from Muertes.
Oh, and that's the thing too. Like he throws the punches, and I don't know if I wouldn't say Mil Muertes didn't flinch because it was backing him up into the ropes, but then Puma tried to grab him to Irish whip him, and Muertes just grabbed onto the middle rope and did not budge, and that was when he nailed Puma with the right fist.
And just sacked him.
Yep.
Just totally floored him.
Down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, and then the Disciples of Death, come in the ring, they're all stomping on Puma. And then, you know what? This is where I think Vampiro may have infected me a little bit. Because then Conan comes in the ring.
Whoa, you're kind of skipping the big moment when I feel like this actually happened earlier and we kind of skipped over it when Katrina showed up at the top of the steps.
Well, I said she emerged and then Cueto was all over Katrina, what are you doing here?
I loved that though because he was just like, Katrina, you should not be here. Go away.
Yeah, like I said, Cueto was having full-blown panic attack here.
He was, and then this whole thing broke down, and like you said, Conan comes out and starts wailing away on the Disciples of Death with his cane, and then Katrina is still in the ring, and he looks like he's going to hit her with the cane, but then Muertes grabs it out of his hands and hits him with it.
I can't tell you how happy I was to see that old bastard learn his place. He came out, and he was hitting people with the cane, and I'm like, why are you selling the cane? To be honest, it was kind of agitating me. But the only reason, it didn't make nitpick or whatever was because seeing him fall just so pathetically like that after getting hit in the kidney with his own cane, I'm like, yes, that's the violence I love, and just, like, put the boots to that decrepit bastard. And they did, and it was amazing. I think I've been hanging around Kevin Owens and Vampiro and others too long. My sadistic side is really starting to take over, but it's not about me, because it's about the decimation of the two guys in the ring. So yeah, Conan gets the boots put to him. Prince Puma is helpless, okay? Mil Muertes physically restrains him after he clocks him, like, right in the head with the cane. He gets him up. Prince Puma's pretty much lifeless. Conan's struggling on the ropes. Katrina hits him with the rock. Again, that's symbolic of Mil Muertes' childhood. Disciples of Death open the casket. They roll Conan in there, and they make Puma watch.
I loved that. Such ridiculous imagery, too. Because, like, you've got Mil Muertes with Puma in, like, almost like a weird, modified, I almost want to say like a Cobra clutch, where, like, he's grabbing him around the neck, but he's not really choking him out. Just holding his head in the direction of Conan getting put into this tombstone or coffin, whatever you want to call it. And then that's the great thing too, is once they close the lid on the casket, Puma gets driven into the mat by a freaking flatliner that I have never seen look so painful.
Yeah, I think he even kind of did a flip, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, his head was spiked. Here's the thing, though, Ashton, because we're going to talk extensively about Ultima Lucha for Ultima Lucha preview and predictions like we do every big show. So I don't really want to talk to you about the two guys, because I think we can both agree this segment was really well done. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this segment was really well done. My question to you is about Conan. Now, this question is a two-parter. A, do you think Prince Puma is going to be all alone at Ultima Lucha? And B, the bigger question in my mind, do you feel like him having this casket closed on him has, like, greater narrative stakes in the sense that, Conan may come back as something different, or he may come back with a vendetta against Prince Puma for not protecting him from the clutches of death?
Oh, I don't know. I think that it's either that, or this might have been their way of writing him off.
You think so?
Well, because the last time we saw somebody to get put into that casket and the lid get closed, it was Mil, and it took a frickin' magic ritual using the power of 1,000 lives from Phoenix, from Katrina, to bring him back to life. So it's assumed that being put in that casket and having the casket closed is like a way of killing you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just trying to keep it consistent with, like, the sort of the laws of the Lucha Underground universe.
Well, here's my follow-up question to that then, because that's a good retort on your end, but I'm not necessarily saying this is a problem, but just kind of continuing the discourse. Would you feel kind of, I don't want to say cheated, would you feel that it's kind of incomplete? Because, I mean, Vampiro has had this vendetta against Conan. I know that's about their personal history, but again, Vampiro's always been kind of like, I don't want to say like, no, he's been kind of like foreshadowing things for the audience, like, oh, watch out for this person or that, I don't trust this person, and we never really saw Conan betray Prince Puma. I mean, do you feel like there's any more story to tell? Do you think that would be a fine punctuation if we never do see Conan again? How would you feel about that if you are right about that?
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, and I'll tell you how I feel about it when we get to it.
That's a fair enough answer for me.
Because here's my thing. It's one of those things where if this is a way for them to write Conan off and he's not going to be on Lucha Underground anymore, I am pretty much okay with that. Because I don't feel like he added that much in the first place. And what he did add you could basically say that his job is done. Because his role was to mentor Puma. And Puma, I think, is in a spot now where he doesn't really need much mentoring anymore. Would you agree?
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I would agree to a point, but I think it kind of builds Ultima Lucha now.
Because it's going to be Prince Puma versus the world.
On his own 2 feet.
Well, because, not only does he not have Conan, but Mil is going to have the Disciples and Katrina.
Exactly.
So in a roundabout way, this is kind of 5-on-1.
Exactly, and if Puma can overcome this, I think then I would be okay with Conan no longer being around, because if Puma can overcome this challenge with somebody as well built up as Mil Muertes, which again is purely conjecture because we don't know what our final thoughts are until we're like this close to the show.
Yeah.
But you would consider it like Puma's graduation day, because it's like, hey, I don't need Conan anymore. I am my own man. I am my own champion.
On the other hand, if he loses to Muertes, it's also a really good reason to have a rematch if and when Conan comes back.
Absolutely. And one more little thought that I just thought about, I wonder if having Conan, taken away by the clutches of death, if maybe we'll finally hear Puma speak for the first time before his big match at Ultima Lucha. I mean, that's been a big deal.
Oh, yeah. I love the way your mind works, because that's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Conan has been doing all the speaking for Puma, and this close to your biggest show of the season, I could easily conceive of a Vampiro sit-down segment with Prince Puma first time ever. Personally, and I know this would be out of character for Lucha Underground, I would have that close the show. I mean, really give this fight, like...
You know what? If they do that, I would want Puma to speak in Spanish.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, so long as you give an English...
Because I know what Ricochet sounds like in English, and I don't want that to take me out of it, so I would prefer it if he would stick to Spanish, because then it's like completely different character.
Well, dude, Lucha Underground is always so good at providing English subtitles. I would not mind that at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yep. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I mean, count that as like another little prediction going forward. I think before Ultima Lucha, we are going to hear Prince Puma speak. Not necessarily next week. I think we got, Ashton, 3 weeks before Ultima Lucha? Maybe a little less?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's August 5th, so...
So, yeah, I think within these 3 weeks, sometime, we are going to hear Prince Puma, like, cut his first promo.
I don't know. I don't want to say that I agree with you, because I don't even think that that's a given. That's what's wonderful about Lucha Underground, though, is that all the speculation in the world, and they'll still find a way to make a left turn seem logical.
Oh, absolutely. And let me just say, too, this isn't a given for me either. It's just a really confident feeling, because it just seems like the perfect time given the events of tonight. But then again, Lucha Underground has said so many times before, screw your perfect time, and does something completely different and wonderful. So we will see. Yeah. But the idea, and this is the big talking point here, the idea that the ending segment was so beloved by you and got me thinking at the rate that I'm thinking right now shows that it did its damn job. Because,
oh, God, yes.
Yeah, I was already looking forward to Ultima Lucha. Now, I mean, just shut up and take my money. Just do it. Like, I want to see Mundo murder Patron, and I want to see, Puma and Muertes tear the house down.
Well, and I want to see Drago get his revenge on Hernandez, and I want to see Team Sitcom wrestle. I don't care who against. They're just amazing.
Everything about this card. Yeah, I mean, even Tejano and Blue Demon Jr., I'm even slightly intrigued about that. Like you said, that's probably going to be your law, but it'll probably be a good, like, story, in the match. This card is as well-rounded as I think Lucha Underground could produce given its first season. And, man, what a program it is. But do you have anything else to say about this closing segment?
No, this was just amazing. It was a piece of art.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So we're going to celebrate this episode with our final segment, High Spots and Low Shots. I'm going to say my low shot is Delavar Daivari. Because you can have all the money in the world, but that doesn't always mean you're going to get a return on your investment. And he sunk a lot of money in Big Rick, and so far I'd say that he has not gotten a return on that investment. Couldn't capture the Trios tag team titles a few weeks ago, and now tonight when he's trying to get one of the Aztec medallions, essentially securing himself a spot at Ultima Lucha, Big Rick fails him again. Yeah, Delavar Daivari, I mean, I don't want to say he's heading to bankruptcy, but then again, I am that punny, so I will. Who's your low shot?
He's such a millennial.
I know.
That was such a weird line from Stryker tonight.
His existence is a weird line. I mean that in the most affectionate way. He's free! He's fired. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm marking out, bro!
Black hole slam, if you will, from Wade Barrett. Dude, shh. Don't tell them you watched the other product. Sorry. So who's your low shot, man?
After that, I might as well make it Matt Stryker, but no. My actual low shot is Superfly, because he got dominated, basically, and he tapped out before Sexy Star even really had the move locked in all the way.
Yeah, man.
You know what, though? What I like about that is that look at what happened with Pentagon. Like, it makes sense that he wouldn't want his arm to get hurt.
Probably having flashbacks.
That wasn't even him actually giving up. That was just a reflex that his body forced him to do.
He probably went in the corner afterwards and was like doing deep breathing exercises. The muscle's still attached to the bone, thank God.
Now he should be thankful to Sexy Star for showing him mercy.
I know, right? What a baby face.
Exactly.
God, such a great crop of candidates tonight for High Spot. But after
May I?
You want to go first?
King Cuerno.
Ah, you took mine.
Well,
But
he's my high spot because he won your affection, so.
well, there you go. There you go.
And because
I
he
mean,
won an Aztec medallion, which could eventually potentially give him immortality. But that's just a side thing.
I gotta be original, but damn, I was so excited to celebrate King Cuerno as my high spot. But I mean, you were the original King Cuerno supporter, so I concede to you, sir. So I
feel like you have a high spot served to you on a silver platter right now. There's only one person on the show that won 2 matches.
That was gonna be my backup. Yes, Sexy Star, because I feel like the only other person I really afforded extensive commentary to that wasn't King Cuerno, it was Sexy Star. I've been saying it before. I'm saying it again. They have got big plans for her. I feel it. I think much like Stephanie McMahon's speech this past Monday, I think the whole wrestling world, at least as far as North America is concerned, has really started to grasp that there is revolution, a lot of female empowerment undercurrents, with the U.S. women's soccer, tennis, MMA, all this stuff. And pro wrestling wants to get on that train, and Lucha Underground's representative is Sexy Star. 2 straight matches with an armbar, no less. She's finally rounded herself out. Let her rise to the world title begin, as far as I'm concerned.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
What's that?
Cheerleader Melissa showing up and being like, "Ha! You think Sexy Star is the best female wrestler in this company? Please."
Dude, I want her, Evilise, and Sexy Star to just have a triple threat to determine the number 1 contender for that world title. Just do it. Yeah, man. Just do it. But, yeah, your high spot was King Cuerno. Mine is Sexy Star. Do you have anything else you want to say about tonight's episode of Lucha Underground?
Mm-mm.
All right, guys. Well, with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What did you think of tonight's episode of Lucha Underground? Will we ever see Conan again? If we do, in what capacity? What do you think about the seeming rise, the push of Sexy Star Beowulf? She's got one of the medallions. What will the rest of her season look like? Do you agree with me that she's getting ready for a strong push? Be sure to take the conversation over to Tweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook where I know the Lucha Underground fans growing by the day, baby. But I get it. You're not really one for groups. Ashton has got you covered. He has made a TWitWoW subreddit. There you can check out all of our TWitWoW episodes, comment on them, engage with them, as well as creating your own Reddit threads on pro wrestling to engage both Ashton and myself in conversation on all things pro wrestling. And we will see you again this Saturday for both our Battleground preview and predictions and our Ring of Honor live reactions. But then don't forget, the following Sunday,
just to be clear, we don't do live reactions to Ring of Honor. We have
Ring of Honor review. I'm sorry, I'm getting so ahead of myself because I'm excited because this Sunday is Battleground live reactions. We just getting started, baby.
Absolutely.
So until then, tune in and peace out.